I am thrilled to be here this evening with each and every one of you. And I'm here not only as one of our district leaders, but also as a parent. I have a student currently that is a sophomore in college who has worked through dual enrollment programs before she graduated at Parkside High School. And I currently have a sophomore at Parkside and a freshman at Parkside. So as this information evolves, I've certainly been paying attention, and I reach out to Mr. Lowe, I reach out to Ms. Shiles, and everyone else, every one of our other guidance counselors here in the district as we want to make sure that we're preparing our students to take those next steps. So we're excited to share some information with dual enrollment with you this evening, because there has been a number of changes in dual enrollment over the past year. In particular, yes, local school systems are going to be paying the bill for many of the dual enrollment classes. We're going to give you information on that today. We've also had legislation over the past year which has made classes that you take at community colleges, such as Warwick or so on, more easily transferable to in-state colleges, universities before, with less of those roadblocks and less of those headaches. So with both of those pieces of legislation kind of going through within the past year, it was time for us to kind of revisit dual enrollment and see what we could do to help support you as parents. And with that, we have launched a new site where we think this information should be easily accessible for you to access at any time, because we know that this evening is going to end quickly, and all these ideas and thoughts are going to be running through your mind. So we want you to have a place that you can go to look things up. And with that, I am going to share my screen. I'm going to take you to a familiar place. Are we seeing the Board of Education website? What do you say, Ms. Shiles? I'm seeing a thumbs up from Mr. Lowe, so I'm going to go ahead. Very good. All right, so this is a website that we all know and love. We're actually looking on a redesign of the website coming up here shortly, but for now, this is how our website looks. And we're going to start our journey into accessing dual enrollment information from this website. So on the sidebar here, you're going to see two different places that you're going to be able to access this information. For the purposes of tonight, I'm going to go to the For Parents and Students link that's on the side. I like this link because it brings up a nice alphabetized list of important information for all of our parents and students in the district. And I know we're looking for D's because that's where it would seem dual enrollment would be, but it's not this time. We're actually want to go up to catalog of courses. We are working on getting it added down here as well, but we're going to click for this evening on catalog of courses. This is a helpful site. You're going to see the list of all high school courses. You can download that 2023-2024 catalog here. You can take a look at the old dual enrollment site linked here. This is the current active site, but we want you to check out the 2023-24 dual enrollment site because that's the one that has all the neat information and all the bells and whistles. With that, you're going to find information about eligibility, which I know Ms. Shiles is going to talk about here very shortly. And then you're going to see links out to important information that we think you're going to find helpful. If you want to take a look at that AP course list right now, here is the AP courses that Wacomico County Public Schools has agreements with at Warwick and/or Salisbury University that you can participate in and receive college level classes or college level credit. If you're in any of our CTE programs at Parkside High School, by taking any of these particular courses, if you transfer or go to Warwick Community College within, I think it's 3 years of graduation. April, is that correct? 3 years or 2 years?
Correct.
All right, 3 years. Okay, within 3 years of graduation and take any single course, then you would receive credit for the course that you took in our CTE program. And that equivalent course at Warwick Community College is listed here in this chart. So you'll have an idea to see that course and see how many credits that's going to be worth. And you'll see that kind of runs the gamut of a number of our CTE majors. And this happens to be an area where we're also seeing some growth and expansion. This next list, Warwick course list, will tell you all of the courses that are offered at Warwick Community College for which we issue credit. Some of these you receive that AP or that college credit. Some of those classes you receive elective credit on, but all of these classes are going to work towards being courses that are transferable to hopefully a four-year college within the state of Maryland. Many of them also transfer to out-of-state colleges and universities, but as you're going to hear us say 100 times tonight, that's a phone call that you have to make to whatever 2-year or 4-year college or institution your student is looking into and ask that question on what classes are transferable. You'll notice on this list, a number of these classes have a computer or a laptop image beside, and that's because there's also an online option for those courses. So when you meet with a guidance counselor and you make that request to Warwick to register for the classes, you can pick a online option if that is preferred. And as you see, it's a pretty extensive list. In fact, a much longer list than has ever been offered in the past. I love seeing Ms. Shiles' head nodding because this has been quite the effort over the past 6 months to develop this list. We're going to slide over here to Salisbury University. We also have our transferable list here at Salisbury University, list of courses as well that students can enroll in and receive AP credit or college level credit and high school level credit or that elective credit. And we'll let you, again, it's an expanded list. We'll let you explore those lists on your own time. We put all this on the website or on a website instead of in a brochure or a handout or a flyer because this information is frequently and constantly evolving. And we want to make sure that you have the most recent and relevant information at your fingertips at any time. So yes, we have our list here, but we're also encouraging you to check out the dual enrollment sites at each of our local institutions here with Warwick and Salisbury University. And those links are also provided right here for you. There's Warwick and Salisbury is linking up as well. Mr. Lowe referenced the course equivalency website. Well, if you don't remember to click at the end of his PowerPoint presentation, we also have that linked up here as well. I said we have it linked up here as well. I'm noticing at the moment that it doesn't seem to be linked, but I promise by the time the presentation is done, it will be linked up well for you. But by clicking on this icon right here, it'll take you to that site where you're able to enter any course from a Maryland college and see how it transfers to any other colleges in the Maryland system. As well with that, you have more information at your fingertips about our higher education system by clicking on the Maryland Higher Education Commission. And this is just a wealth of resources, whether or not you're transferring credits or have any types of questions about scholarships in Maryland and financial aid, benefits to students in all walks of life. There is just a wealth of information at your fingertips there. Beyond that, we have reminders on the steps to enroll, what receiving credit looks like, and the course drop ad is also at the site. And with that, I'm going to hush because Ms. Shiles is itching to give specific information about each of those areas.
Well, thank you, Mr. Harris. Yes. So I just dropped in the chat the link to the website that he's currently sharing with you guys. He showed you how to go right to the Board of Ed website and navigate there. But I just figured I could drop that link in there for you. When you do go on there and you choose to go look at the Salisbury University site or the Warwick site, please remember, they may say their list of dual enrollment is even larger than what we're saying with our county site, but remember that they're working with multiple counties. So it is critical that you cross-reference with the Wycomico County list that's on there, and that's why we made that very specific, because it has to be on our approved dual enrollment list, not just because the college says they offer it, because they're working with so many different counties through the dual enrollment process. I am going to screen share.
And I want to add to that, April, too. We really wanted to put some time and energy and care into the courses that we selected to be on the list to ensure that those courses had the best chances of being transferable. And we tried to narrow that down to help out our families and our students as you make some decisions and plan for the future.
Yes. And so currently, oh, did it share?
Yeah.
Okay, there we go.
Yes, you're good.
So, but it went to the end and not the beginning. That's interesting. Here we go. Let me get back to the beginning. Oh my goodness, what is happening with my? Are we still sharing, you guys?
Yeah, we can still see it.
Okay.
We are, but go ahead and scroll back up and try again.
I'm not. I've got 3 screens here and all of a sudden everything's going everywhere. Okay, there we go. Now I can see it. Sorry about that, everybody. So currently what you will see on our site is Warwick and Salisbury University, as well as in the past we've worked with UMES, but our most updated information is Warwick and Salisbury University. As we're looking through this, again, he reminded you we have that website that is always going to be our top reference. This is another opportunity, just like Mr. Lowe referenced, for us to expand our students, for them to go out and they have an opportunity to earn college credit at the same time as potentially earning high school credit. And with this program, there's even the potential to earn all the way up to an associate's degree. So we'll chat about that. That's a pretty heavy load. And it is definitely something you would want to think heavy with your student. Because let's say, you know, if your child's graduating at 17 and they earn their associate's degree right at the same time, then that could have them potentially graduating a four-year university at 19. And if they're looking at med school, law school, farm school at 19, then it's like, oh, are we ready to be there? Or are we going to take advantage of taking extra classes at, you know, at that four-year university, so forth and so on. So there's a lot to really think about, but we do want to mention that, you know, now we do have this opportunity to get through the entire associate's degree. It's a general studies dual pathway. One of the things to note, and thank you, because Mr. Harris has done some research for us, if your senior earns an associate's degree, so they would have their entire two-year degree through Warwick done at the same time as their high school diploma, they would still apply to four-year universities as a freshman. Because typically, if we were at Warwick as a full-time student, you would apply as a transfer student. And that's because it does put them in the best opportunity for scholarships. And we've received that feedback from multiple schools in the state of Maryland. But this pretty much requires students to take about 10 dual enrollment classes junior year and 10 senior year. So for our people that are here, you know, with 8th and 9th graders, right, to keep this door open, if this is something of interest, you've got to earn your credits. You can't, if you're falling behind on a class, that's really going to put a hinder to any of this path, because here's why. The eligibility to be a dual enrollment student is you must have an unweighted GPA of a 2.75. So what that means is they're no longer looking at that extra 0.5 we add for honors classes or that extra 1 we add for advanced placement and many of our dual enrollment classes. They're just looking at, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, or 0, depending on, you know, what letter grade you got. Also, you have to have earned 16 high school graduation credits. So that's 8 credits a year as a 9th and a 10th grader. So if you fall off track, we're kind of closing that door for at least a semester until we can get up to those 16 high school graduation credits. And then when we go through this, again, we have to make sure that as we're picking these classes, we're meeting those graduation requirements that Mr. Lowe shared with you. These are the steps to enroll that are right on the website, and we're just going to talk about those in a little bit more detail.
April, I'm not sure that we're seeing your presentation. We see a dual enrollment, general information.
Let's see.
I don't know if you're switching
It
slides.
wants me to, okay, it's telling me to restart. See, I purposely came to Mardella to do this. Because my internet in Mardella at my home is so bad and we're still having technical difficulties. All right, so I'm going to let me completely close my PowerPoint.
I have got it up here, April, if you want me to click through it.
Yes, do
you.
that.
How does that sound?
You know, we're out here in the boonies, so we have technical difficulties.
All right, here we go.
Perfect. Okay, so if you'll click the next slide for me.
I can. Yes.
Awesome.
I'm going to follow directions well here. You let me know. Are we doing it?
And one more time for me.
All right.
So things to consider. What school am I interested in? Am I looking at Warwick? Am I looking at Salisbury University? And those decisions, along with whether or not dual enrollment is appropriate for you or AP, as we've said multiple times already, depends on the colleges you're looking at. So even, you know, as a sophomore, pick up the phone and call the admissions office and find out, do you like your students taking AP? Do you like dual enrollment? Do you prefer it from a community college or a four-year university? And that really can vary when we're talking out of state, when we're talking Ivy League, and when we're talking military academy. You know, a lot of Ivy League schools will say they really prefer advanced placement because they want that standardized AP test and they expect you to do well with it. I've had Ivy League schools say, I want you taking every AP class, every AP exam. If you do dual enrollment, I want you doing the AP exam that goes along with it. We want you to do well, but we're not going to give you credit for any of it, right? So you need to know that kind of information. The good news is AP tests, the exams next year will also be covered just like dual enrollment. So the expense is kind of out of the way, which really helps open the door for a lot of people to be able to participate in this. And then, you know, if a college says, well, we want you to take it, but we may not actually take that credit. Maybe you want to be a math major. They want you to take calculus at their school, right? But still having that exposure while you're in high school is amazing. And it's just going to help you be more successful. Okay, so go ahead and click the next slide. So if you're choosing to do this with Warwick University, you would go first to the link here. And as with Mr. Lowe, these will be interactive. So when she shares it out, you can click right on that link. It takes about 10 minutes to do the Warwick application. It is a little tricky because it's 2 steps instead of 1. So you create an account and then do the application. A lot of people do 1 step and forget the second. And then you get a lot of emails after that. So make sure you find the email with your Warwick ID in there and keep it safe. As for Salisbury University or UMES, there's not an application. So if you're applying to them after you graduate from a high school, you would do the application, all right? But for them, you're considered a non-degree seeking student, and there's just a paper application that we would work through. You'll go ahead and click the next one, and I'll go over what those will look like. Now, for Warwick University, some of their classes have prerequisites, which could include either taking a diagnostics test that they call the Accuplacer, or having some of those things waived based on how you maybe did on a standardized test, or even just how you did in the classes. You know, if you were getting A's in all of your English classes all the way through, they may be able to waive the diagnostics testing for those sort of things. Salisbury University does not require that. Okay, go ahead. Yep. So when you meet with your high school counselor, we will fill out a dual enrollment certification form. There are unique ones for Warwick, ones for Salisbury University. Here's what's critical. You must brainstorm that middle box, courses approved. Okay, this has to be filled out when you're meeting with the counselor, and then it either goes with you to meet with our Warwick contact, or you fill it out completely and return it to your counselor for Salisbury University. So it's 2 different processes. We have a contact at Warwick we work with who meets with you in person. He'll do Zoom. We're bringing him in-house at many schools, but for Salisbury University, it all goes through your counselor and then via email through some secure systems. Okay, the next one. So registration opens for everybody on April 4th with Warwick. Salisbury University has a very specific window. I think I have it mentioned a little bit later, but Mr. Webster is our contact. A parent or guardian can attend the meetings with the student, but so long as the parent has signed off on that dual enrollment certification form, he can meet with the student in and of themselves. And one thing you have to remember, dual enrollment is taking a college course. So we have to abide by college rules for interactions as well as grading. So that means we don't have Family Portal to look at for grades. We don't get grades. We don't see grades. We don't get midterms. We're working to try to get a small midterm report. And also the college expects to communicate with the student, not the parent. Because again, it's a college level course with a college level expectation, and that includes any dual enrollment classes that may be taught within our buildings. So we have to abide by those college rules and expectations. So just keep that in mind as well. Okay. All right, so if you decide to do dual enrollment classes, you would register twice. So we're registering right now, again, for the fall. And then we'll register again around November for the spring. This year, we need all dual enrollment registration done by June 1st. If a student wants to do dual enrollment and it's not done by June 1st, then the counselors will turn those dual enrollment courses that we're putting in the scheduling system into either an AP or honors course back at the high school. Until we can get that filled, because we don't want to put your student in a dual enrollment class and then it doesn't get scheduled and now we don't have them in classes at all, right? So that's why we have that June 1st deadline, and then I know in the fall we'll have that next deadline for what it looks like in the spring. Again, so the Warwick registration is on there. You will see, and I did get an updated date after I had sent this out. So I am doing at Mardella. Mr. Webster is coming in-house to do registration with us on the 14th. And I do believe Parkside just got their date confirmed. They're going to Parkside on April 18th. And the other schools I know are actively working to get that date confirmed. So that's one opportunity where instead of you and your child having to reach out to Mr. Webster to schedule a meeting, he'll be right in-house. So that just helps, again, make it much easier. They'll be here to do the entire enrollment process as well as registration. So with that, it's crucial that you start looking at when the classes are available and have an idea of what time you would like to take a class when you go to meet with them. For Salisbury University, they are much more strict and they have a very small registration window. So April 24th to May 9th. If you don't give us that dual enrollment information back until May 10th, you will not meet the June 1st deadline because their registration window closes where Warwick's does not. So please keep that in mind. And then I'll show you something we're doing to try to help all of our students remember this countywide. Okay, when it comes to credits, and we can go back and show you the site towards the end, but when he showed you all the classes we have online through the Board of Ed website, you'll see that there are columns there that explain how many credits do you earn from Warwick or SU, and how many credits do you earn from the county, and then what type of credit are you earning if it's an advanced placement or an honors. Or we do have some classes where we will approve it for dual enrollment, but we're not gonna, it doesn't come back as a credit for the high school. And one thing to note, we do work with the high schools to get the transcript to us for the grading for our piece, but the colleges own those transcripts. So when it comes time to apply to a college, you have to have the transcript sent yourself from the college. Okay, so this is another tricky piece for those students who want to do dual enrollment. The window for drop add is significantly longer with many colleges, especially the withdrawal window, than what Wycomico County Public Schools and any public school in the state of Maryland would approve. So you have to abide by Wycomico County Public Schools drop add, not the colleges, because the college will let you go halfway through a class and then withdraw. If a student were to do that, then there would be an E given on the transcript, and we don't want that for anybody. So obviously what's the most important is if a student gets involved in a dual enrollment class and they're struggling, you've got to let your counselor know so we can see if we can get you the supports at the school to help you, or if we need to figure something out during that approved drop add window. The main thing to remember is you're a student at that college. That means you have access to all the tutoring and supports that you would see at that campus, whether it's math tutoring, English support, etc. So use it. As Mr. Harris said, the cost this year is huge. And I'm sorry for those of you who have older children that have already gone through this, but this is super exciting. So now AP exams are the fee. We're going to cover that, right? So we can earn college credit that way. Or if we do dual enrollment, you will see tuition, books, and most fees will be covered. There are a few fees that could not be covered. So it's still important you know how to access that financial aid account and you're checking it. For some little minor things, I think I had a student that had to pay like $23 or something random this year at Salisbury University. So just make sure you know that. We will not pay for you to retake a class that you failed via dual enrollment. And if you fail more than 2 classes in 2 semesters, then at that point, we're not going to continue with dual enrollment because we want to get you in classes you're going to be a little bit more successful in. And right now, it is important that you provide your own transportation if you're going to take in-person courses, but you can also do online options through Warwick, and some of our schools are offering in-house dual enrollment classes. Go ahead. So some things to keep in mind. College does not care if you have softball or baseball after school, right? So you have to plan your accordingly. If you're involved in a lot of after school activities, you should be taking 8, 9 a.m. courses. Okay. You can stack classes. You could do a Monday, Wednesday class along with a Tuesday, Thursday class to get 2 classes in at the same time slot. So on here with mine, you can see at Mardella, we're going to be offering, and we've already confirmed this, English 101 and 151 on site taught by Mr. L. I did hear from Bennett that they're pretty hopeful they're going to be able to offer Calc 1 as a dual enrollment class next year, but that's all I had heard to date. So I did want to make people aware of that. There are also some dual enrollment classes, you guys, where you have to take 2 to get the credit because the first class is a prerequisite. And that's really clear on the website because it says the word and. So one of those is to get senior English through Warwick, it's 151. But to get to 151, you have to take 101. That could be waived by taking the English 11 AP exam and getting a 3, 4, or 5, but that's the only way you can get to 151 without going through 101. So again, some things to keep in mind. Do not sign up for any dual enrollment classes that you've not talked to your counselor about and had put on that form, because we don't want you taking a class that we're not going to pay for, right? We want to make sure everybody's good. We want to make sure you're taking classes that you can get credit for. We want to make sure you're on track with what you need to graduate and potentially get that associate's degree if that's of interest. Again, don't drop out of a class. Don't make any changes to your schedule unless it goes through your counselor. Okay, we are not going to be able to cover summer or winter classes. That does not fall under our dual enrollment negotiated agreements. I already mentioned about the payment, and the other really important thing, guys, to know is that dual enrollment classes, they only post once the semester's over. That's when we get the official grade. So I want you to keep in mind what you're taking, right? And so here's an example that I ran into my first year as a counselor. I had a student taking everything dual enrollment except one class, honors trig pre-calc. And this student was not great at math and got a D in honors trig pre-calc. That turns into a 1.5 GPA. Student was doing great in the dual enrollment classes, so they were saying, but it doesn't hit our transcript. So unfortunately, a 1.5 now made this student ineligible, right? Because the dual enrollment classes only hit at the end of the semester, 2nd and 4th, and then we backdate it to 1st and 3rd. So you do want to keep that in mind. All right, we are almost there. So again, we have that live document that you can take a peek at. Well, I think there's one. We talked about, again, there's that artist link where you can go in there and see how would something transfer from Warwick to another school in the state of Maryland. If you're looking at out of school, call them, find out which one would they prefer. Talk to your Ivy League and military academies. If you're calling an Ivy League school, you guys, many colleges track every time you're contacting them. It should be the student contacting though, and not the parent, especially with Ivy League because of that tracing that they do. So just keep that in mind. And one more, I already talked about that bottom one. So again, June 1st is kind of the critical deadline. So I know at all the schools, we're all actively working to meet with our 10th and 11th graders that have told us they want to do dual enrollment to try to get those certification forms ready. So you can either reach out to Mr. Webster. If you're looking at Warwick, be ready for the day we have our on-site where you can do it right in-house or get it completed. So we have it April 23rd to submit to Salisbury University the first day of registration. And then there is a general information form that we are giving out to all of our students that kind of summarizes what was in this PowerPoint. So ask your school counselor for that.
April, there were 2 questions in the chat. I think you answered both of them, but if you want to just reiterate the answers for them. Can you see them? Will students be allowed to take summer courses at Warwick was the first one.
No.
Okay. And then the second one, do the students need a schedule to meet with you in order to approve dual enrollment class? And if so, how soon?
Yes. So again, just to reiterate, and that general information sheet is on this PowerPoint, so it'll come out and all of our counselors are pushing it out. So it's probably in your child's Google Classroom. At Mardella, we call it class of 20 whatever. So every grade level has one, and I've already dumped that out as well as when we did a brainstorming meeting. So registration opens next week for all new dual enrollment students. So that's 10th and 11th graders that are ready to dual enroll next year. Salisbury is April 24th. So we're in it. It's go time. So you want to, touch base with the counselor. Please understand though, we are working with a massive amount of people. So if we don't have it ready tomorrow for Monday, it's okay. The class is not going to fill in the first 2 weeks. But by May 15th, could English 101 at 9 a.m. be full? Absolutely, right? So we need to make sure we jump on it, in the month of April and get it taken care of.
I want to stress that we're giving the website and providing that so you have that updated and fluid information. But we have not removed the school counselor from the equation. They still are the experts in this enrollment process. So please, please, please take the information that you've learned from researching the different links on the site and contact your school counselor when you begin that enrollment process. They will help guide you through it. I do want to show just really quickly, Ms. Shiles had referenced the associates pathway, and that pathway is on the site. So the dual enrollment site that we visited previously. You'll also find that, yes, the ArtSys link is live and updated now, so you can check out and see those equivalencies. I promised you it would be done before the presentation was over, so there it is. The associates pathway right here with Warwick Community College. By clicking on that link, it will take you to kind of where we believe is a good place to be if you're moving through the scheduling process to leave yourself enough availability in your schedule that you can fit in the classes to get that associates. So you have a number of options you'll see with each content area. You may only be picking one course in that content area, but there's numerous options to pick from as you take a look. So again, that's something to navigate on your own time, but we wanted to make it available to you. And there it is again on our district dual enrollment site.
Mr. Harris, really quick, could you just go to the Warwick course list so we could just show them those columns I had mentioned really quick?
Absolutely. All right, we're back on the list, correct?
Yep.
Here we go.
So again, guys, when you're looking at this list, for instance, if we look at the first one, English 101, okay, so you're going to go over Wycomico County Public School course alignment. That means it aligns with AP English 11. Okay, great. I know I'm going to get my junior English if I take this course. Then when we go over Warwick credit, so it's saying I would earn 3 credits from Warwick for this course. What would I earn from the county, right? On my high school transcript, I would get 1 credit. And how is that going to impact my weighted cumulative GPA? It's going to come in as an AP grade. So that means I'm going to get that additional 1. You will notice that some of these have nothing next to them for Wycomico County Public Schools. So that means we're approving you to take it dual enrollment, but we don't have a class aligned to it. So we can't give you a credit on our actual transcript. So when you see that in your schedule, it's going to have an NC next to it for no credit. And you'll just see an S or a U on our transcript. And then some of our classes come across as honors.
I also want to stress too, if you do any of the online classes, many of the high schools are going to be setting up space for students to work to complete those online classes if they're during the school day, but we're also allowing students to work from home on those online classes. So of course you're providing your own transportation at that point. We're only going to run the school buses in the morning and the afternoon to your neighborhood, but if you have the ability to provide that transportation and complete the course from home, you'll certainly will be permitted to do so. Gosh, I feel like I missed something, but that's because it's just a wealth of information and so on that's being put out there right now.